Hi, welcome to my channel. On this channel, I do affordable fragrance reviews like Bath & Body Works and Victoria's Secret, some how-tos, and perhaps some other things coming up soon. So please like this video and subscribe if that sounds interesting to you. So today I want to talk about my cherry perfume collection. So I like the note of cherry a lot. So over the past few years, I've accumulated quite a number of body mists and perfumes with cherry notes, but these are all more on the affordable side. So probably nothing over like $120 for a brand new full bottle, although a lot of them I got used off Mercari, so I don't think I've paid more than, like 70 for any of these full bottles, something like that. And some of them I just have a sample of. But even so, if I was gonna buy a full bottle, it wouldn't be, $200 or $300 perfume. So no Tom Ford here, but there might be a Tom Ford dupe. Anyways, so I'm gonna kind of do this tournament style. So I have the fragrances kind of paired off, and I'm going from light to dark. So ones that are more like just a brighter light cherry to the really dark, deep smoky cherries. I said berry, cherries. So yeah, I'm going to kind of do each pair, kind of rank each pair, and then just go through them and then kind of talk about my final thoughts and my favorites. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'll be right back and we'll get into it. So when I was thinking of this video, I was kind of thinking of like a wine tasting. So when you go to a wine tasting, you're always supposed to start with the lightest wine to the darkest and most intense, because once you've tasted the more intense wine, you're not going to be able to like really even taste much of the lighter one at all. So like I said, it's going to go from light to dark in terms of like brightness and depth, and then also like I'll do like mists before I do perfumes per each set of sort of categories, just so my nose isn't getting overwhelmed. So I am going to put a little picture up on the screen actually, so you'll just hear me talking so you can kind of see the scents I'm going to compare. So I have in my sort of brightest, lightest category, I have a Sunset Glow from Bath & Body Works, Eau Cherry from Pink. So there's an Eau Cherry from Bath & Body Works, so I have that one too, but that's later on. I'm not really sure how they got away with like having the same name for that. I have Ariana Grande Cherry Eclipse and Perfect and Pink, and then two Victoria's Secret ones, Cherry Desire and Lush Cherry Cream. And then from Bath & Body Works, I have the Eau Cherry from Bath & Body Works and the Sweetheart Cherry. I kind of have a one-off, which is Bombshell Midnight. I'm not really going to compare that one. I just don't really think it's really cherry enough to compare, but I just wanted to kind of include it. And then I have Sabrina Carpenter's Cherry Baby versus Ambery Cherry, which is a Tom Ford dupe from Dossier for Lost Cherry. And then I have Dare from Brown Girl Jane and Tarte Deco from Sniff. And lastly, Cherry Ambition and Kylie Love Fest Burning Cherry as my darkest ones. I apologize if the audio is not as good. I can't find my little fob for my microphone, so I'm just using my cell phone. I don't know what happened to it. I always keep it in the same place, so not really sure how it got misplaced. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this first pair of scents. Okay, so Sunset Glow came out, I think 3 years ago. Summer, and Eau Cherry came out last year, I think, with the pink sort of back to school. I'm gonna start with this one. I have a feeling this is the lightest, so I'm gonna start with this one. So this is Dark Cherry Red Pomegranate and Vanilla Amber. So it's got like a boozy kind of maraschino cherry kind of smell to it. So it is kind of giving like the Lost Cherry vibes, I guess. I've never actually smelled the original, but I kind of just have an impression of what it smells like after smelling so many dupes for it. Yeah, and there is an amberiness. There is actually a depth to it. So this one's actually deeper and darker than I expected, but it's still a body mist and it's still from Pink, so I'm pretty sure it'll fade pretty quickly, but it does smell good. Okay, so there's that one. And then Sunset Glow is fresh coconut, sparkling cherry seltzer, dreamy moonflower, and caramelized vanilla. And from what I remember, this one is like if you took Sol de Janeiro 62 and you added cherry to it. So yeah, I'm getting more like cherry, but like a tropical drink with cherry. So it's like you're sitting by the beach, you're having like a coconut tropical drink with some like cherry syrup in it, and you're still wearing sunscreen from like earlier in the day. That's what I'm getting for this. So very different kind of scent. So there's cherry, but it's definitely not at the forefront. So I'm not really sure how to rank those two just because they're so different. So I'll just leave that for now. Okay. My next pairing is the Perfect in Pink and Ariana Grande. What is it called? Cherry Eclipse. I didn't know about that one until just like a couple days ago, so I went and got the mini. Maybe I'll get a full bottle, but so one thing I want to talk about actually is I think it smells like quite a bit like Perfect in Pink, so I don't know if you need both of them. So yeah, let's start with Perfect in Pink, and I do have the perfume of Perfect in Pink. I just got this today, so if you watched my like outlet shopping haul, like shop with me / haul, they had this at the outlet for like $17.95, so that was a really good deal. So Perfect in Pink, just looking at the fragrance mist here, is vibrant cherries, rich camellia, and whipped almond cream. So I think people kind of forget this is a cherry scent. I'll just spray this on myself. Okay, so that's that one. So it's cherries, but it's like kind of like effervescent in a way. Like it does it say like vibrant cherries? I don't know, I'm almost getting it as if like it's like a bubbly cherry drink. Almost like it said in the Sunset Glow. It said like it was like cherry soda. Not that this smells like a cherry soda, but it's just like very like bright and almost like I'm almost getting like a fizziness out of it. And almost like a citrusiness or something like that to go along with it. But it's sweet and it has like the almond. You can smell the almond in the base. Okay, then the Ariana Grande, I have the little travel size one. And then I just wrote down the notes. Black Cherry Jubilee, honeysuckle petals. I think it was like sugared honeysuckle petals, jasmine sambac, marshmallow meringue, and glowing amber something. I can't read my own handwriting. But you know, you get the idea. Amber, marshmallow, jasmine, and then like the syrupy cherries. Yeah, this one, even though it says like the syrupy cherries, like is not as syrupy to me as even the Perfect in Pink. Sorry, I shouldn't cover up my mouth when I'm talking, just because like, I don't know, someone might be watching and they need to like look at my lips or something like that, but just when I'm smelling, I tend to talk at the same time, so I need to stop doing that. They are very similar, you know. I'm not saying they're dupes, but they are very similar, and that's just not something I thought about. So this is cherry, but it's like a little tartar, I guess. And it's got the sweetness in it. and maybe some like florals, but yeah, they're very similar. So I might have to come back to that, of which one, like maybe after it dries down, which one I think is like the preferable scent, because they're very, very similar scents. And like I said, maybe I'll hold off on buying the Cherry Eclipse since I just bought the big perfume of Perfect in Pink. Okay, so let's see. So, 2 from Victoria's Secret, and then kind of like 1 year and the next. So this is from last year, and then this is from this year, but it's kind of like they always kind of release these sort of sets of like usually 4 scents, and there's like often like a berry one, sometimes cherry, and then usually like a vanilla. You know, they always kind of have different profiles. So the Lush Cherry Cream from last year is juicy raspberry, mixes with lush orchid and cherry. Irresistible. So I know like Ksenia is always like complaining about like the poem. She calls them like poems on the bottom, the back of the Victoria's Secret bottle. So, you know, it's not really a list of notes as much as like a little, I don't know, like impression. Okay, so these are darker cherries, and they almost smell fresher, so less like a syrupy cherry, more like dark cherries, but like actual cherries. This one smells good. So in one of my other videos, I was like, do orchids actually smell like anything? And like they do, but I've never actually smelled an orchid, because apparently the ones that you get at the grocery store like pretty much never have a smell. Kind of like the roses you get. I mean, roses that you get from a florist, maybe like a nice florist, they have a smell, but you know, the ones from the grocery store just like, they smell like, they just kind of smell like their stems. They don't actually have like the rose smell to them. But everyone knows what a rose smells like. But so like when there's that orchid note in there, it just says like it can smell like a lot of different things. So it's kind of like, I do feel like it's kind of a throwaway note though. It's just sort of saying that there's some kind of like pleasant floral, I think, in there. Yeah, and it's saying there's raspberry, so I can kind of see that there's like a sort of tart raspberry as well. So that one actually smells pretty good. So let's compare that to this one. And now actually, maybe people were complaining about the like poems on the back. Because this actually has like a list of notes. So it says cherry liqueur, top, cherry liqueur, maraschino, pulp, heart, brown sugar, and base, blushing amber, and lacquered woods. That sounds good. Let's see if it smells like that. Yeah, I'm getting like kind of back to like the cherry soda kind of vibes. Grenadine kind of vibes. This is actually reminding me a little bit of Perfect in Pink. It's based on the notes, it's not as like deep as I feel like it sounded like it was based on the notes. Let me just smell these 2 caps. Of course, this one I sprayed less recently, so. Yeah, I feel like the Lush Cherry Cream is just like a lot more like sort of full and like gourmand than the Cherry Desire. This one's more like fun and playful. So my vote actually goes to this one from last year. This they have at the outlet near me, they still have plenty of these. So if you're trying to find those, then maybe you can find an outlet, but they're a little few and far between. Okay. I'm just checking in with my Perfect in Pink versus Ariana Grande. All right. Next 2. Sweetheart Cherry, and Oh Cherry. And I'm pretty familiar with these, so I know that they smell very unlike each other. Black Cherry, Sheer Magnolia, and Tonka Bean. So this one's like very like ungourmand. So it's cherry scented, but more like perfumey. It is like a darker cherry. And then I guess like the sweetness of the Tonka bean. And then Sweetheart Cherry. Is like a cherry, like I'm like picturing like the intensity of like an almond extract, but it with like a cherry in it. So like it's very, very like enveloping and sweet and concentrated smelling, and a little bit more foody. And this one, I think, let's see, wild cherry, crushed pistachio, and with vanilla. Some people say this is more of a pistachio scent, but that's not really like, when I'm wearing it, I don't notice that much pistachio. For me, it's just like a rich, foody cherry, syrupy cherry, and then like vanilla base. So my vote is on this one for those two. I haven't like, did they come out with a lotion for this? I don't think they did. So they came out with lotions for some of the everyday luxuries that had been around for a while, and then they also came out with new ones with lotions like Guilty as Fig, like Viva Vanilla had been there, and then they went and they made a lotion for it, or I should say a body cream, and that was kind of nice because then you could layer it. But they didn't do it for Oh Cherry, so there's still no lotion for it. But I do have a Tree Hut lotion called like Cherry Rave that is just kind of like a cherry lotion, so I could use that with this. So yeah, but yeah, my money goes on Sweetheart Cherry. Yeah, Bombshell Midnight, it's a bombshell fragrance, so it's not gonna be like as cherry-ish. It's gonna be more of a floral. But let's see, the notes are lush cherry, red peony. Peony is always a note in Bombshell. That's like the signature note of a Bombshell. And sultry vanilla. Yeah, it smells like a Victoria's Secret perfume. I mean, I collect them, but like, I'll admit they're not the most like diverse smelling perfumes. So yeah, the cherry's in there, but I'm getting a little like sweet powderiness, more floral. Sorry, once again, I should try not to cover my mouth when I'm... It's actually nice, you know, but it's just not like a cherry scent. It's more like a nice sort of like daytime to evening scent, because it's not that, it says Bombshell Midnight, but like it's not that intense. It's like, you know, once again, it's a bombshell fragrance. It's not going to be really blowing you away with like its power or anything like that. So yeah, it's kind of just like got like a nice like powdery, like I'm almost picturing like a powdery nut mixture, I don't know if that makes any sense, with a little cherry and like the florals. So that smells nice. I'm gonna wear that more. But like I said, that one's a kind of a one-off because it's not so much a cherry scent. It's just got some cherry in it. All right, let's see. All right, so we're kind of getting to our last category. So I'm checking back in with my Perfect in Pink and Ariana Grande. I'm still on the fence. All right, so the next one, and this is sort of like the end of this is getting towards the deep and dark category and away from the sort of mid category. So Ambery Cherry is supposed to be like a Tom Ford dupe. So it says top notes: cherry, almond, cinnamon, mid notes cloves, rose, jasmine, plum, base notes Peru balsam, tonka bean, and vanilla. So lots of notes in there, but yeah, it's like a spicy woody cherry. And I used to really like this one, but then I put it on the other day and I didn't like it that much, so we'll see. It might have also just, because like in the sprayer, I feel like if you haven't worn something for a while, like the fragrance in the sprayer, like you kind of need to clear it out to get to the fresher smelling fragrance. So yeah, it just smells like a little flatter to me than I remember. But this fragrance to me reminds me of Cherry Coke. Like I just, for me, I've always just thought of Cherry Coke when I smell this. So there is some kind of like to me it is giving some kind of effervescence, but like not like in a bubbly way, just like, I don't know, it's just giving like a you feel the scent kind of filtering up. I get the woodiness, for sure. Yeah, definitely woody. I don't really smell cinnamon or clove, but I guess it's just kind of making it deeper. Okay, so this is Sabrina Carpenter Cherry Baby. So she has a coffee one. I was thinking of trying that. This one has a bunch of notes. So let's see. It says Cherry Cosmo, like a drink. Glazed apple, plum, nectar, brown sugar, red poppy, peony, chocolate, vanilla, patchouli, amber, cashmere woods. And I'm sort of summarizing some of those. Let's see. This one's getting more to that like syrupy cherry again. Yeah, I'm getting like chocolate and vanilla there. So I am getting like some gourmand aspects of this. So I'm getting kind of like a desserty chocolate and vanilla and cherry dessert. Like a cake, chocolate and vanilla cake with syrupy cherry on it or something. But it's kind of fading quickly. Yeah, so like way more gourmand than this one. Let's see, I'm gonna come back to that one as well. All right, so we're to our final four. So, Tarte Deco, which is cherry, raspberry, apple brandy, birchwood, cedarwood, vetiver, vanilla, and Orsinox, which is like a synthetic musky note. Running out of room. All right, let's see. Very different. Very woodsy. Like, very woodsy. Maybe a little bit more unisex. There's a powderiness to it, but really nice. Yeah, and I was wearing this. I've been kind of just playing around with these, and I was wearing this the other day, and it was a standout to me, so. And then Brown Girl Jane Dare. I just have the little sampler pack. I have some full sizes. This is a nice perfume house. So if you haven't checked them out, I encourage you to. Juicy Cherry Rose Damaskina. So like damask rose, Italian leather. Okay, so Dare. This is like an older sampler pack. They have a bunch of newer fragrances. Like Casablanca I have, and Carnival, I think. This almost smells like licorice to me or something. So the rose is less prominent. I get the leather for sure. So yeah, I'm getting more of like a patchouli-ish, leathery, like licorice smell. So very deep and intense kind of scent. It smells good, but it's less of a cherry scent. Oops. So I think this one's gonna go to Vanilla Vice. Just because this one, the cherry is just part of the composition. Okay, last two is Cherry Ambition and Kayali Love Fest Burning Cherry. Okay, and Cherry Ambition, let's see. A cherry, saffron, and vanilla marshmallow. And once again, this is just like a little sampler pack. I don't have any full sizes of this, but this is a really nice house as well. The 7 Virtues. So, you know, maybe at some point I'll pick up a full size. I try to like just start with smaller sizes and then like get a full bottle if I really like it. But then the problem is when I have so little, I'm like hesitant to use it. So I don't know if that system's working for me so well, but like getting something like this is good because like it's enough that I can like feel like I can really use it versus like something little like this. I'm just gonna like sample it and then like forget about it basically. Okay, where's an empty? Okay. I need an empty spot. Okay, once again, very woodsy, but deep, smoky. Very, very smoky. That's good. I like that one. Yeah, I can smell the saffron. I have a saffron-based perfume from L'Artisan Perfumer, which is like a saffron scent. So I'm picking up on a comparison there. Okay, and then everyone knows this. Everyone knows this brand, Kayali, very popular brand nowadays. Back in the day, like things have changed a lot for perfume. So like if you watch my perfume story, you know, back in the day when I was younger, I was like in my 20s and early 30s, I guess. You know, you would either buy a designer perfume at Macy's or, you know, go to Bath and Body Works, or then you'd have to like find some way to get like a niche perfume, or go to Saks or Neiman Marcus to get something really high end. So they didn't have brands. Like I feel like they didn't have, it was like either designer or like really high end niche. Like nowadays you have all these nice brands that are, I guess they're niche brands, but like they're affordable, like Kayali, 7 Virtues, Brown Girl Jane, Fleur. So those are just really nice brands that like, they just didn't have anything like that like 15 years ago. So it's really nice that there's just so much more in the fragrance world for people to enjoy. This is giving me more of the like cherry, like cola vibes. Did I read the notes for this? It says burning cherry, raspberry, praline, palo santo, and guaiac wood and patchouli. So it says burning cherry, but it's not as smoky as the Cherry Ambition. It's a little lighter and brighter than that. So it's woodsy, but I'm not getting like as much smokiness. So I might have to give this one to Cherry Ambition. So even though I have the full bottle of Kayali, I might have to pick up a Cherry Ambition bottle because I'm really loving this smokiness for especially like the fall and winter. But it's definitely more of like an intense, like maybe evening scent. Okay, so I'll be right back with my final thoughts. Okay, so I think I have my favorites. I'm just gonna go through them real quick. So I think I like this just because it's a little different and it's kind of fun with the tropical vibe. So it's still summer, so I'm gonna have to put this one to use. I'll have to take it to the beach with me. So as good as this is in the way it smells like to begin with, like I'm pretty sure it'll fade really quickly and then it'll just be kind of flat. Okay, and then I think I decided that I like Perfect in Pink better than Cherry Eclipse. So I'm gonna keep wearing those, but having this bottle might keep me from having to purchase a Cherry Eclipse bottle because I think it might actually be a stronger, better scent. And then, like I said, I think this is a better scent from those Victoria's Secret ones. So see if you can find that anywhere, or Kari or your outlet if you have one. Sweetheart Cherry, such a yummy pistachio. Like I said, I don't really get the pistachio, but a lot of people do. But like a yummy bakery vanilla cherry, very syrupy and sweet and delicious. And I think the Sabrina Carpenter is probably better than the Dossier, but I'd have to give that a little bit more of like a side-by-side comparison with just those two because there's so many other cherry smells going on right now. But yeah, the Dossier just is kind of like falling flat for me now. I don't know. And then let's see. So yeah, I think my favorites, my absolute favorites are Tarte Deco and Cherry Ambition. So I'm just really loving like the depth of these, the strength, the quality. You know, I can just see myself definitely wearing these as the weather gets colder. So love this one. Might be getting a full bottle of this one. So. All right, so as you can clearly see, I love cherry perfumes, and yeah, I'm looking forward to some cold weather so I can wear these more. I hope that was helpful to you and that helps you if you're thinking about picking up a new cherry scent and you're wondering what direction to go in. All right, thanks again, and please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more fragrance-based videos.